It's 10 o'clock. This is Fox 10 Talks, and boy, have there been some, frankly, some pretty treacherous driving conditions. Over the course of the last couple of months, we're so used to seeing pictures like this from Michigan or Wisconsin or Minnesota, but just look at what drivers are having to deal with now over the last, say, 24 to 48 hours up in northern Arizona. Yeah, the snow finally slammed our state, and you got to be cautious for sure. But let me tell you, there are a lot of people very happy to see us finally getting a big time snowfall in the state of Arizona. So good morning, everybody. This is Fox 10 Talks. I'm Ron Hoon. Oh, by the way, Syleste is going to be joining in the next couple of minutes, but we are excited. In about a minute, we're going to check in with Krystal, who's been monitoring everything going on. And oh, by the way, maybe we're not done yet. So that's all coming your way. But let me also just mention, we got a great poll question for you today. And here's what it looks like. The numbers have been shifting around. SB 1635, make it illegal to warn somebody if they were right about to be arrested. 75% say, I support this idea. Let ICE do its job and stop interfering. 24% say, I am opposed. The First Amendment applies even if somebody is about to be arrested. And then 1% say, I support what ICE is doing, but not this bill. Too many questions about it. So you can join that conversation. Seems like every time we put the QR code up there, the numbers do start to move around. So we obviously are going to be talking about that. I'm also going to mention a little bit later this morning, in fact, in just, I think about 10 to 15 minutes, Matt Finn from Fox News Channel has just been excellent with his coverage, breaking a lot of angles on the story of still missing Nancy Guthrie. So we've been talking to our sources at Fox News, and Matt is going to join us from Nancy's neighborhood coming up here within the next 15 minutes or so. But let's just roll that video. Look at this. Right here. Oh, man. That's what you call a close call, I guess. That's from Bob, the number one dog, sharing that video. And this, by the way, is Highway 180. So a lot of you are familiar with 180, as you leave Flagstaff and continue to kind of head off in a northwesterly direction. This is what people have been dealing with. And so, we do appreciate getting all of this snow. And yeah, I mean, it was one of those very kind of almost, I don't know if you want to call it foggy days, Krystal, so much. I mean, is that fog or is that just sort of the
I think that's the snow coming down and it's obscuring the visibility a little bit. Yeah. But definitely that chilly look to the air, right?
Yes, right. Okay, so let's get right to it here. We are going to check in with Krystal, who has been watching it, not at all surprised. Or were you surprised at just how strong this system was?
No, we were pretty much expecting exactly what we saw, which was the snow and those winds. The winds were a huge factor, even in spots that didn't see that much snow, like eastern Arizona yesterday when we were on Fox 10 Talks. There were gusts over 60 miles per hour. Some of the gusts topped out in the 70 mile per hour range yesterday, which is hurricane force. The hurricane force winds with this system, which was wild.
I only remember once in the Valley's history, this had to be, let's see, it was in the house I lived in before, so it had to be like 2018 or 19, where we had winds of around 70 miles an hour clocked at Sky Harbor. And I remember thinking every palm tree in my backyard was just going to get knocked over. Didn't happen, but there was a big mess to clean up. Let's go to your weather maps here. You can kind of walk us through it.
Sure. So there's another look at some of the different highways around the Flagstaff area. And you said this a moment ago. For the most part, crews have gone through and done their thing, so the roads have cleared out. Now, these are the main roads. Our own Ashley Loessa is up in Flagstaff, and she was showing off some of the side streets. They were still icy, at least icy. Some of them were snow-packed with a thin amount of snow. They picked up anywhere between roughly 3 and 7 inches of snow in the Flagstaff area with this last system. Snowbowl picked up 8 inches, which means, by the way, in the last 3 days, they've gotten 2 feet of snow at Snowbowl in the last 3 days. And we still have one more storm system to go, which is awesome news for folks that are wanting this wintry weather, especially for our ski spots, Sunrise and Snowbowl. Right now on Fox Vision, not a lot going on. There are a few showers down in the Tucson area, just outside of Tucson and over the mountains off to the east of Tucson. In fact, Mount Lemmon, I saw, has posted that they've had some accumulating snow, which is great for them to have some snow down there too. But other than that, we are dry right now. That's about to change as a third system comes in, Ron, which is It's funny. We went months without almost any winter storms, and then we're like, let's pack. We had one last weekend, and then we've had 3. This will be the 3rd this week. So let's pack 4 storms in like a 9-day period.
Sure, why not?
Why not? So this is the storm center that's going to be moving in almost the exact same track as the one we had yesterday, which means very similar impacts and expectations as what we had yesterday. Snow for the high country, kind of that mixing line right near Prescott, Sedona, and Payson, and then some passing rain showers for the valley. But the big difference is yesterday's happened morning to afternoon. This one comes overnight into early tomorrow morning, which means it's colder, which means it's very easy for snow to stick and make those icy roads for tomorrow's morning commute in the high country.
When you were on the air with us this morning, like around 6 a.m. or so, what was the coldest spot in the state at that point? Do you recall?
The wind chill in the Grand Canyon was down to 0. And we had single-digit wind chills this morning. I think teens for temperatures up in Flagstaff. Wow. And temperature-wise, it will be just as cold tonight again. So very cold. Interestingly, though, if the air is super cold, sometimes that impacts the kind of flakes you get. Closer to freezing sometimes gives you more of that fluff effect, and then the colder you get, sometimes you get tinier little icy flakes. So sometimes you actually want it to be a little closer to, but nonetheless, you're going to get snow out of the system. So let's take a closer look at the timing of the storm. Up in Flagstaff, it looks like in earnest, it will start to snow by 8 p.m., although before that, a few spot snow showers would be possible, and then continues until about 3, 4 a.m. in the morning before it starts to exit. So truly is like a nighttime event for Flagstaff, and just snow expected. In the valley, just rain expected, starting around 11 p.m. and then lasting again until about 4 a.m. So a few spot showers, especially the north edge of the valley, but all of the valley has a chance of some passing showers overnight. This is the future cast as we go through the timeline. I'm taking a peek at the stream as I'm chatting here just to see if anybody's asking any questions, but I don't think so.
No.
All right, so there's a look at the future cast, and this is the rest of today, just some in and out clouds. This is this evening, 6 p.m., some rain snow starting to move in Mojave County, and then that rain snow starts to spread down and into Yavapai and Coconino by 8 o'clock, like I mentioned, is roughly the start time I'm expecting for Flagstaff. Snow continues right on through the nighttime hours, a little mixing in like that middle of the night, like midnight or so for Prescott. So could you get up to an inch in Prescott? Potentially. The mountains outside of Prescott, several inches certainly is possible. And right on the cusp for Sedona and Payson for us to see a little snow there, but I tend towards it melting. For the valley, there's those passing showers through about 3 a.m. as the snow starts to pull out of Flag and run down the Mogollon Rim. And then just like with yesterday's system, it scatters, breaks up, but does provide some snow showers for the White Mountains and eastern Arizona. But honestly, past like 8, 9 in the morning, the state's totally dry again. So a lot of tomorrow, you won't even know there was a storm system that moved through, except for up in the high country where those roads will leave the remnants behind. The final component of this is, yet again, the winds will be increasing. I don't think they'll be quite as strong as they were yesterday when we had those 60, 70 mile per hour winds, but gusts in the 35 to 50 range for both Flagstaff, Show Low, much of the high country is possible, and in the valley, 25 to 35 mile per hour winds are possible. So we'll take a look at our snow forecast, because obviously that's what people want to know. It's like, okay, well, how much more? For Flagstaff, another 4 to 8 inches is possible around the Flagstaff area, and then 6 to 12 for Snowbowl, which if they can get that 12, that'll put them at, 3 feet of snow in the last, 6 days.
Is that amazing?
And I think they had over a foot last weekend, so that would put them in over 4 feet within a couple of week period, which would be amazing.
Is it a drop in the bucket for the drought, though, or does it really matter?
Okay, so for us locally, our short-term drought actually has seen much improvement because of the fall rains we had. So anything is useful, of course, but we're not in bad territory right now. But of course, when it comes to the Colorado River supply as a whole, it's not so much our rain in Arizona and snow as it is the snowpack to the north of us. And you can see on this map, they are getting some snow to the north of us too, but everywhere is way below average for the season. So you kind of a drop in the bucket for the large picture, but small scale, we will still celebrate these snow totals.
We have a question for you, Krystal, from the boys. Just real quick, he says, do our mountains look like avalanches? I'm guessing what he means is
after what happened in California. Sure.
What does it look like in terms of what are the conditions maybe it takes to produce something like that?
Well, obviously, like a bunch of snow at once can be a factor, but I have not seen any alerts. I haven't seen anything from the National Weather Service up there, and they do have products that they put out. When I say products, I mean, we get a wind advisory. They have avalanche forecast they can put out, and I haven't seen any concern for that, so I wouldn't say that's like a top concern. Obviously, any time that's a concern, it's more like a backcountry thing anyways. It wouldn't be like for snowball typically. So.
Okay. So any closing thoughts here, Krystal?
Just enjoy, because in the valley it's like 66 today, and by next week it might be almost almost 90.
Yeah, it's a high 80s.
Is that amazing?
Enjoy liking.
Use
guys.
the weather, your cold weather wardrobe. Use that for
coats.
All right, so we say goodbye
Thank
to
you,
Krystal, and we are
Krystal.
welcoming to the big microphone a very special guest, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, that's that Twin Arrows Casino that's out in the Winslow area. Look at that view back toward the San Francisco peaks. Mike Pache joins us this morning as well. Mike, you're not really a skier, though, are you?
No, but I've been loving watching the Olympics. And,
Yeah, no kidding.
What's your favorite sport?
I like the bobsledding one.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. But seeing the curling,
Yes.
I don't know.
Is it this one where the guys like cleaning the?
Every Winter Olympics, I think, if we took if both of you two,
Yes.
if we took 6 months off of work,
Yeah.
and just practice curling,
Yes.
I think we could be on the team.
I'm going to say, even if we took 2 months off and we wanted to bobsled.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you get in the bobsled and you lean with it, right? I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff
Well,
you got to do.
here's the thing: you both got strong quads. I'm sure you're
Oh,
men,
you said it, Celeste.
and that's really what you need, right?
You know what the audience wants.
You're running down.
By the way,
I'm always
since
scared that they'd be on the ground.
Right?
Since you mentioned the Olympics, the next Winter Olympics in the USA is going to be coming to us from Utah, nearby Salt Lake City. Quick one-day drive to get up there. And so these were the pictures of the snow squalls coming in. We, I've got my daughter and her husband that live up there, and they're like, it's been so bone dry. And they finally got a real amount. It looked to me like about 4 inches right in downtown Salt Lake City. So it's good that Utah is getting it. That's for sure. And so, let's get a little more snow before we hit 90 degrees.
Oh my
Michael.
goodness!
Can you believe this?
I know.
I know. Next week there.
It actually has been really pleasant.
Yeah.
Almost like chilly weather. Or like
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a dinner, what I'm going to make for dinner tonight. I was like, chili would be a good option.
Okay,
well,
You know?
chili or soup.
Chili and bobsledding. What else could you
There you
ask
go.
for?
And do you go with the saltines, Celeste, when you make the chili, or do you go with Ritz crackers? What is your option?
We go with Fritos.
Oh,
It's Fritos or nothing. Like my husband's like, did you get the Fritos?
Mike, what have you and I got to do to get an invite over there?
I know.
Mystery Cam. We'll be back with Mike in 2 minutes. Give us your guesses. And we welcome you back. Mystery Cam time every morning at 1:15 you have discovered, if this is your first time hanging out with us, the friendliest chat online on YouTube. People watching from all over the country. We're starting to get some guesses here. Let's see. I see Troy saying, haven't seen this play, or haven't we seen this at some point in the past? He's trying to go back deep into his memory banks. He thinks it might be Idaho.
I think it could be Idaho as well. It has a yard house, Village Cinema.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna, and those. It looks like the Wasatch Mountain Range back there,
so
right?
You think maybe Utah then?
Potentially.
Okay.
Utah. Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Johnny, here's Johnny is giving us a Nevada.
Johnny.
See, Brandon says Colorado. Celeste, what are you going to go with?
I'm going to go with Utah.
All right.
Mike?
I was thinking Utah the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's allowed. We
Ron?
can have I'll go with Utah. We'll make it unanimous.
We got the trifecta in. Let's see.
Here we go,
Okay, here we go.
everybody.
And this is your bobsled team answer.
One time.
Meridian, Idaho.
Your bobsled team answering the question.
Idaho.
There you go.
I'm
you
from
know what?
Boise.
Yeah, you used to work there. You loved Boise.
Oh, man, it was the best.
And that's the suburb right next door, in Meridian, and it's its own little boomtown.
So
that's
Linda
for sure.
Monterth, Louis Gonzalez, well done. They both guessed Idaho.
I just have to say that Matt Finn has been doing such a good job reporting on the Nancy Guthrie case as the days go on. Matt, be sure absolutely check out your reports early on from Fox News Channel, Fox and Friends. Now, I guess there really is some hope as you join us here this morning from Tucson. I'm going to pull your signal up right now. It's interesting because the talk now about the genetic DNA code that they hope to crack sounds to me like it might be their best avenue of pursuit.
Yeah, so the sheriff says that there was DNA recovered from inside Nancy Guthrie's house behind me that does not belong to the family or Nancy's inner circle. And so far, there have been no hits in CODIS, which is the national database. But what's interesting about CODIS is you basically have to be a previous offender or have had DNA entered into that national database. So now the sheriff says that they are pursuing other routes, including these forensic genealogy methods, including perhaps, some private companies that people may have previously entered their DNA into. And so we've interviewed a few of these private companies and talked to them, and they actually claim that they can perhaps quickly build a larger DNA profile than law enforcement because, they say that they have all these points, these data points that they look for, and they can kind of expand into your family, into your cousins, into all these other databases where really law enforcement is primarily checking the databases of previous offenders. So had you not had any priors, or if nobody in your family had priors, they may not be able to track you. So it's a long shot, but one of these companies is credited with tracking down Brian Kohberger in the University of Idaho murders. You'll recall he was arrested, I think, a couple weeks after the initial incident. So there is hope here that DNA that has been recovered from inside the house behind me could ultimately be identified by by the private sector, and the private sector kind of claims they may have some better technology than law enforcement.
Well, but the thing about the Kohberger case is it all started with that there was just like a flash on a gas station camera of his white vehicle leaving Moscow, Idaho at the exact right time, and that's how they began to kind of piece it together. Have you heard any discussion about the vehicle that must have been in that neighborhood that fateful night for Nancy, and why we haven't seen any images of that?
Yeah, this is just kind of jaw-dropping to me that we have not had any vehicle identified to us, that law enforcement has not asked the public to look out for any type of car at all. So, obviously here in the Catalina foothills, it's extremely, extremely dark. It reminds me of the Troon area in north of Scottsdale. No light pollution, no traffic lights. So when you're out here at night, you cannot see your feet beneath you. So it's no shock that perhaps if there's any residential cameras here, any ring cameras here, that maybe they didn't capture any of the activity. As soon as I got on the ground, I talked to a neighbor who said, yeah, we have cameras, aimed at our front door and towards the driveway, but it's not going to pick up anything on the street. So let's say in theory that none of the neighborhood cameras picked up anything. As soon as you get out of this community, you very quickly start to hit some major thoroughfares and some major streets. And so I talked to both Pima County and the city of Tucson. Pima County says it does have traffic cameras, especially at major intersections, but look, they said they're not perfect, that you may not get a license plate out of it, you may only make out the silhouette of a car. And then the city of Tucson, which is pretty much most of the area of town, they say they do not have traffic cameras that record. So there is a scenario where if the offender quickly went into the city of Tucson, they were not recorded on camera, and if they were briefly out in unincorporated Pima County, their cameras are not crystal clear. But again, I do wonder if perhaps the feds or the sheriff's department does have a car identified, if they are kind of honing in on a certain car, and maybe they're keeping that from us to protect the integrity in their investigation. But in general, I was thinking about Coburg. I'm like, very quickly we had that white sedan. We're not getting anything here. The public's not being asked to look out for anything.
Matt, I think a lot of people, their hearts are broken. I think we're waiting to see what's happening. A lot of people may have parents who are 84 years old or grandparents, and you think, my goodness, what is her life like right now? I'm surprised, though, there hasn't been a lot more that has not been discussed about going south of the border. And I know there's no global DNA type of database, but it seems like that would really be the key in possibly helping if she's either south of the border or somewhere else.
Yeah, we're about an easy 90-minute drive north of Mexico. And so it's kind of impossible to ignore a scenario where this may involve Mexico or cartels, God forbid. So that is on the top of a lot of people's minds. So far, Sheriff Nanos here in Pima County, he has told us on camera that he is not aware of any direct link to Mexico. And, we have been informed that the FBI, it's rather standard for them to immediately get in touch with their Mexican counterparts in situations like this, that the FBI was likely in touch with Mexico as soon as it began this investigation. But so far, we just don't have any direct link there right now. But of course, people are kind of entertaining all types of theories and possibilities, sadly. And as far as, we know how difficult it is to say goodbye to your loved ones, to your parents, even under the most normal circumstances, just dying of old age. But can you imagine Savannah Guthrie and all of her family? They just don't know where she is right now.
And Matt, you've been doing such a great job on the ground reporting, as well as posting all the updates on X. I have to ask you, Matt, are you a little bit perplexed on these lack of news conferences? I mean, the sheriff is doing one-on-ones, but you're not getting that news conference that you would typically get, say, if it was a different jurisdiction. It seems like you might be having one maybe daily on these types of updates, but we're not getting that.
Yeah, a lot of people are pointing out that Sheriff Nanos is not hosting these daily press conferences. Rather, maybe every other day, every third day, he's hosting these one-on-ones with a lot of different news organizations. That's just how he wants to go about it right now. I think there's a couple different competing philosophies. Some of the people who are involved on a federal level, especially the FBI, they say, hey, less information the better. You really don't have to be informing the public about anything, and so, in working with the FBI previously, the feds are usually much more tight-lipped. So then you have Sheriff Nanos, who is doing these one-on-ones, and he's talking pretty freely about a lot of things. And so then some people say, well, the more freely you talk, the more it opens up the door for speculation and theories, and you're kind of confusing us on certain things. So, I'm not Sheriff Nanos, but his decision right now is to be doing these one-on-ones. He did initially do some press conferences. There were some critics who said they didn't go too well, so perhaps that's why he's pivoted to these one-on-ones.
All right. Well, Matt, we really appreciate your time. Hopefully we can call on you again in the future. Appreciate the good work you're doing for us and for everybody at Fox News Channel.
Well done, Matt.
Thanks,
well
Matt.
done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's another story that people woke up to this morning that I think, frankly, has our whole country talking and one other country.
And maybe the world.
Yeah, maybe the world. Talking about the UK and the arrest of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, as they're calling him, the guy who used to, the man formerly known as Prince.
Yes.
Andrew. And so when they announced that they had finally decided to arrest him,
right?
It's as I've been kind of digging into it, there's only been one other time in recent memory that a royal even had to have an interaction with a court. And I believe it was Princess Anne, because her dog bit a child, and that was like 25 years ago.
Wow.
And it was not an arrest. I mean, to arrest a member of the royal family is flat out shocking.
Yeah, it really is. And the investigation now leading to two of the properties of Andrew going on right now. And I mean, this all happened on his birthday, too. He got arrested on his birthday.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And, I was reading a little bit into this. It carries a maximum of life in prison.
Isn't that something? I don't even think they have a death penalty over there. And I don't know how seriously they treat murder cases.
Right.
But here's somebody who, if he passed along some private or some non-public information, could go to prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah. How old is he?
66.
66.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, the connection to Jeffrey Epstein, there are a lot of people now who follow news out of the UK that it could be a matter of weeks before the Epstein scandal takes down the British Prime Minister. Not that he had any direct dealings with Epstein, but some of the people that he's brought into his government have. And even that kind of taint could bring his whole government down. Yeah. I mean, Epstein killed himself how long ago now? And the reverberations are continuing to be felt more and more.
Yeah, it really is. And, I think it's starting to spook the markets a little bit. We're seeing a little uneasy on that today. And I think if this snowball continues to go, stuff could happen, not only in Europe, but here in the U.S.
Well, with the release of a lot of those emails, I think people are going on. It's pretty easy to find them. I was reading through them the other night. You can go through and you have to press a button that says, are you over the age of 18? And you press yes. And some days I'm over 18. Some days I act like a middle schooler. But anyways,
we all do. We all act like seventh graders around here sometimes.
But, anyone can go in there and all the information and the documents are released. I mean, think about all the people's names that are in there. Yeah. And there, it's kind of been trickling right now throughout. You mentioned the market has been reacting through the business world and now overseas.
And I'm not saying this is a Trojan horse, but what it does do, this is related to some paperwork that apparently got sent that should not have been sent. But now the police have already arrived at his estate, according to multiple reports, as we speak. And they will be able now to start looking through his additional emails, through his phones and more. And they may discover more when it comes to the sex-related scandal with Jeffrey Epstein and the former prince.
Yes, it seems like right now we're just at the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Okay. Mike, your input is always just really appreciated, buddy. Can you come visit us tomorrow? You want to?
Yeah, I could do a little bit. Well, you know what? I start earlier tomorrow on.
Well, think about it. Think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll arm twist. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
All right. Well, as much snow as we've had in Arizona, right now California has us beat. Would you look at this live image of what it's like at Yosemite? I really, it's so beautiful over there. And I would imagine some of the roads in that area are probably closed as a result of this dramatic snowfall. But at least they keep the camera up going, and look at that image.
Yeah, that is incredible. Yosemite Conservancy bringing you that image. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But a lot of snow, lots of storm activity moving through that part of California and eventually making its way here to Arizona. More snow on the way in the higher elevations here as well. Welcome back, everyone. 10:30 here. We are graced with the presence of our legal eagle, also known as Josh Colesrud.
Yeah.
Good morning, my friend.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right, Josh, we have three big topics for you today. Let's start with this, what could be a real landmark trial when it comes to social media use. And to me, it seems like it's an argument between personal responsibility.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're getting sucked in, put the phone down, versus are these platforms purposely trying to addict you? You've been watching the case. What's your early take on it?
Yeah, and I've read the complaint and the response, and I've gone through the docket. And let me just kind of break things down on what's happening. So this case all began when the parents of a 10-year-old girl allowed the girl to use Instagram as part of her daily life. And she was on Instagram for about 5 or 6 hours a day, and she started to have anxiety, and then it increased, and then it led to depression, and she couldn't get away from Instagram. She had OCD about it, and she was on it every 15 minutes looking for a new story, looking at the pictures, etc. And the parents, 3 years later, are saying that Meta, Facebook, and Mark Zuckerberg are responsible for her anxiety and depression. And, Meta is saying, well, hold on a second. We just provide a public square here, and this is actually the fault of the content. We can't control the content, and it's the content that is causing this. So that's going to be what the issue is. Does this platform cause this child the anxiety, or is it the content? And the plaintiff's attorneys actually have some pretty good points. They say that the endless scrolls of stories and the filters, the notifications are all designed to addict young kids to keep engagement going, and that they point to studies that Facebook and Meta had where they lied about the impact of those studies and hid it from the public, knowing that it was going to affect these children.
Weren't there emails, like interoffice emails, that were also a part of the court case, and they're looking at those where they actually say, yes, we know this is kind of addictive, this is the direction we're moving?
Yes. So there's three parts that the plaintiffs have to prove. First, they have to prove that Meta was aware of the problem, and that's what they're going to do when what you were just talking about. And then they have to prove that they ignored the problem and allowed it in their product anyway. And then finally, the plaintiffs have to prove that the problem on Meta is what caused the damages. And again, that's going to be the hardest part for them to prove.
We got questions coming in. Celeste, what do you see?
We do.
Yeah.
We have a question from Mike Lewis, 21. Doesn't all social media try to get you to watch or read more, or media, not just social? Why is social media different from just media in general?
So this lawsuit isn't punishing social media per se. It's punishing the addictive qualities of that platform. And, a guilty verdict, so to speak, in this case, where if they find damages, will have a much faster impact than legislation. It'll force all of the social media companies to change their platforms to not be as addicting to young children.
There are a number of documentaries that I've watched with our family, and you have these former executives from these social media companies that go on camera and they say, yes, we know this is addictive, and this is something that, I tried to be the whistleblower and let them know this was wrong. And no, I don't let my kids on social media until they're 18. Can those be admissible in the court case?
Yeah, so, the lawyers call that a contributing factor. At some point in time, parents have to take responsibility, children have choices. So, what the jury is going to be asked to do is, what is the majority factor here? What is the primary cause of the damages? Is it the choice? Is it the parents? Is it the child? Or is it the platform? And if they say it was the platform that, was the controlling part of the damages, it's going to change everything that we know about these social media companies.
So no matter what the law says, would you have a jury with let's say, a sympathetic victim, a young lady? Doesn't that influence them greatly?
Oh, absolutely. There's a very sympathetic effect here. And, anybody with a heart is going to be able to look at this child and be like, I want to protect that young girl. I think the issue for the plaintiffs is a legal mechanism called a directed verdict, where a judge can end the case before it even gets to the jury.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the judge may say that no reasonable juror could find in favor of the plaintiffs because the plaintiffs failed to establish causation, for example. And so I'm not even going to allow it to get to the jury. So that's going to be the biggest hurdle for the plaintiff attorneys.
Does it mean anything that some of I think Snapchat and another social media platform both already settled out of court? Does that affect maybe the judge's decision potentially, or the direction this case could move?
Not directly, but it does certainly give a little bit of guidance to the judge that these other social media companies have acknowledged that their product does have these type of liabilities where they were forced to make damages. But Meta, of course, will argue that the judge is not to consider other lawsuits when determining what to do in their case.
Okay, we got about 5 more minutes with you and 2 big topics.
Sure.
It's been several days now since we've had you in to talk about the latest on the Nancy Guthrie case. I know you're watching it as it unfolds every day.
Yep.
You're looking at it from every angle. What's the latest in terms of your thinking?
Well, I'll tell you, I think we've reached the stage in the investigation where we're not going to hear very much going forward until there is a big reveal, hopefully like the Koberger case, where they have an arrest. I mean, there's only so many leads that they can throw out there before they run out. And, right now, the latest is that they're working with officials in Mexico to see if there are any leads there. But this is kind of like the iceberg, where the public is aware of the 30% at the top, but we're unaware of the 70% beneath the water.
Oh, interesting analogy.
Yeah, so we don't know very much right now, other than hopefully they're doing their jobs. Now, we did hear that there was this so-called sniffer technology where they had a helicopter flying over homes about a week ago looking for the pacemaker and the Bluetooth signal. But the issue with that is, why didn't you do this on day one when the pacemaker would have been in the area, at least the probability of the pacemaker being there was much greater? And then why are you telling the public? Because if you're a bad guy and you don't want to get caught and you know that they're sniffing around for this Bluetooth signal, aren't you going to destroy the evidence? I mean, that could put Nancy Guthrie's life in mortal danger by advertising the fact that you're looking for this. I cannot believe that the sheriff's department would do that.
Okay, let's get to this final topic now, which is what's happening at the state capitol. Pretty controversial. It's called SB 1635, which would make it illegal to warn someone that the police are going to either your neighborhood or even your house or apartment, and they are about to arrest you. Get out of there now, kind of obstructing what the police and, or in this case, ICE might do. What's the legal view on this?
Man, there are legal landmines all over this bill. It's SB 1635, and what this bill does is that it punishes speech alone without conduct. So what the bill says is that you can receive a misdemeanor for warning anybody of police presence, even if the person that you're trying to warn doesn't receive the warning or they don't understand it. And the bill itself is so ambiguous that it's hard to imagine that it could ever be enacted. So whenever there's a bill that punishes speech, there's something called strict scrutiny, where the Supreme Court or a court will have to determine, is there a compelling interest, which there is in this case, which is law enforcement safety. And number two, is it narrowly tailored? That is, is the language in the bill so narrow that it's not going to trample on people's First Amendment rights of freedom of speech? And here, it's not narrowly tailored. They have a lot of ambiguous terms about warning and what that means. It could include whistles. It could include like warning your neighborhood, generally speaking, that ICE is in the area. Mm-hmm. It could punish journalists who are in the area. It would punish Paul Revere saying the British are coming. It would punish Paul Revere. He would be arrested for a misdemeanor on his law.
Poor Paul.
The midnight ride of Paul Revere. Listen, my children, and you shall hear.
One quick question, if you don't mind, Ron, on this. We have somebody in the chat.
Yeah.
Chittamona asked, can they get DNA from hospitals? But I'm guessing in the Nancy Guthrie case, I'm guessing there's a HIPAA situation there.
There is, but they can with a court order if they have probable cause that there is a connection there. But ordinarily, absolutely not. In fact, it's even a controversy that the FBI would do genealogy DNA techniques where they would take, like in the Brian Kohberger case,
right.
They didn't know who he was, and they would input his DNA into Ancestry.com to kind of find out who his family tree is to kind of narrow down the suspects. Even that is frowned upon, but definitely not a hospital without a court order.
Okay.
And then when it comes to the DNA, they say they found non-familial DNA somewhere in that home. But they're not saying what it is. Does that matter? I mean, whether it's blood or, sweat or something else?
There's a lack of information here. I mean, DNA is always circumstantial evidence. It doesn't tell you when it got there or even how it got there. We don't know if it was left there a year ago or 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So unless we know the circumstances of how that DNA got there, it really doesn't add very much, except for it needs to be chased down. We got to find out whose DNA it was and why it's there. But I wouldn't say that because DNA of somebody else was found there, that's necessarily the killer or kidnapper.
And we can't let you go without saying that you have a pretty popular podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay, what's it called?
It's called No Contest. We just started it about 5 or 6 weeks ago. Just had our last episode pop on Tuesday about the Nancy Guthrie case.
Yeah.
And it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
We
Very
love when you come in, Josh. Thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
I'm going to spend some time listening to that for sure. Hey, by the way, Josh, thanks again. We always learn a lot in 10 to 12 minutes with you. Our poll question as we go to break, just real quick, I'll pop it up. So what do you think about this 1635? Join the conversation on YouTube as well. We'll be right back. right, everybody, welcome back to Information and Conversation. The whole concept of Fox 10 Talks is we get you all the news all morning long, and then at 10 o'clock we kind of chill with you a little bit more. We invite you to join the friendliest chat online, as we like to call it, and we love to get your input on whatever the big stories of the day are, that's for sure. So let's jump right into our poll question today, because it's directly tied to what we were just talking about with Josh Colesrud, and it's this SB 1635 that would make it illegal to warn somebody if they were about to be arrested. 75% of you are saying, I support this, let ICE do its job, stop interfering. 23% say, I'm opposed. The First Amendment applies even if somebody's about to be arrested. And then your other option on the QR code, and we'll jump into it with Syleste in a second here with the YouTube poll, but I support what ICE is doing, but not this bill. Too many questions about it, and that's kind of the point that Josh was making. So let's take a look, Syleste, and see how it's looking over there on YouTube.
All right. In just the last hour, we have 1.1 thousand votes. So this one with a lot of chatter here. Fox 10 Talks poll question. SB 1635 would make it illegal to warn someone if they were about to be arrested. What are your thoughts on this? Make sure you go into the chat. You can share your thoughts in the chat there on the YouTube chat box if you'd like. But here are your options. I support it. Let ICE do its job. Stop interfering with them. Opposed. First Amendment applies even if someone might be arrested. And I support ICE, what they're doing, but not this bill. Too many questions. On YouTube right now, 55% say opposed. First Amendment applies even if someone might be arrested. 40% says I support it. Let ICE do its job and stop interfering with them. So this is a pretty big number with 1.1 thousand votes that we have on YouTube. And Ron, when you compare it to what we see on television as well, you can vote in both polls, by the way, as well. And if you are watching on television or on our Fox Local app, let me just give you a quick here reminder for you. You can actually go to YouTube. Type in Fox 10 Phoenix, go to the live button there and click on live, and it'll take you right to where we're at here. And then you can join the chat on YouTube while you watch on the app or on TV.
And one other thing I'll just mention here, which has to do with yesterday's poll question. You were talking about big numbers in today's, Syleste.
Yes.
At last check, we were well over 5,000 votes.
Wow.
In yesterday's poll question. So I'll just update everybody right now.
Okay.
So we did see polling that came out yesterday that said President Trump's approval rating on immigration, which at one point was his highest issue. He had a 55% favorable to about a 40% unfavorable. It's totally switched now.
Yeah.
And is it time to stop the ICE raids? 49% say yes. Look at all the trouble they've caused. 38% say no, angry protesters or not, ICE is just doing its job. And then 12% on that third option. We always like to give you third option because it's not just black and white.
Right.
The problem is local police not cooperating with ICE, which was really, I think, what the feds were saying almost right out of the chute, which is the reason we have to have so many people on the ground, not just the agents doing their work, but agents having their back, is because they're feeling threatened by the protests that are going on.
Yeah.
So all of that is unfolding, and coming up in a couple of minutes, we're going to check in with Big D, and find out what your comments are on today's poll question about this SB 35. But
Yes.
Syleste, so every morning as part of my check-in with Dave, I'm like, okay, so let's talk about our viewer voicemail. We love the viewer voicemail. Let me go look at it right here.
It is one of the best inventions that we have here on FTT.
It's an invention. That's exactly what it is.
Because we invented it.
Correct. I don't know if anybody ever even heard the word voicemail until we just invented it.
What is that, Ron? What is a voicemail?
Yeah, well, 602-262-0428. That's the number to call, that's for sure, on anything we talk about or just questions you have for Syleste and me. But here is the viewer voicemail that just came in regarding, I guess it has something to do with me. Ready? Here we go.
This is Doug Sola from Scottsdale. And just wondering if Ron was related to Art Hoon, my baseball coach and teacher. in the Edmonds School District back in the mid-1960s?
Boy, now that is a good question, Celeste.
Where did he go to school? Did he say?
Yeah, he did right there in the voicemail. And so he was talking all the way back in the 60s. I would love to know that myself because it's an unusual name.
Art
If
Hoon.
you go to the phone book,
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever looked or counted, there are more Rodriguezes than there are Hoons.
There are. Yeah. That is very true.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially in Arizona.
Yeah. Well, so I don't know the answer to that, but I have definitely dug into the genealogy, and my favorite story was not a couple of years ago. Gosh, it was more like 15 to 20 years ago when Tony Blair was the prime minister.
Yes.
His defense secretary was a guy named Jeffrey Hoon. And so I wrote him, I think it even might have been a letter back in those days. It was. In fact, this is how long ago it was. I wrote him a letter saying, hey, Mr. Hoon, I'm the Mr. Hoon from over on the other side of the pond. Let's meet while I'm there.
Because I think we could potentially be related.
Correct. I want to find out about this.
Yeah.
And so this is how long ago it was. We had to go to an internet cafe.
Oh,
Remember when they had those?
Yeah, those are like, what, the 1990s, late 90s.
I'm looking through all the emails, and I'm like, oh, he actually answered. And so we did actually go by his office, and he said, we had a table about like this. And he said, come on, let's sit over at this table. We sat down, and he said, this is Winston Churchill's table.
Oh, my
And I'm like,
gosh.
Mr. Who? You, you
Did
know
you ever
how
take
to
a photo
connect
with
me.
him?
Yes,
Even
yes.
like those.
But it was pre-phone photos.
So it was like one of the maybe like disposable phones. Like, did you ever take those around with you?
Oh, the old Kodaks.
Yeah.
You know, where you kind of crank through
crank it and you take a
so
photo.
I don't know. It's in a shoebox somewhere. I got to find it.
Wow.
But anyway, so bottom line to the whole thing is he told me the Hoon name because I said it doesn't sound very British, and he was from the Midlands area, which is 2 hours north of London. He said it's not. It's not a British or English name at all. It's a Dane. It's a name from when the Danes, which is of course what they call the Vikings.
Yeah.
Oh, here come the Danes with their ships and their swords, and they basically took over that whole part of England.
Wow.
So that was the connection. And anyway, it was really interesting. So I still don't know but I wouldn't be surprised because there are just not a lot of Hoon names out there.
Yeah, so maybe you are related to Art Hoon.
Yeah. All right. So once again, if you want to connect with us, here it is. Here's our viewer voicemail. Let me just pop it up right there.
And we love that you guys ask us questions, Ron.
This is another one of these days. Ask us anything.
Yes.
Let's go to Big D. I think he was still looking through some of the comments that you had regarding today's poll question, 1635. Dave, what?
Yeah, that's right. We have so many comments. You can comment, obviously, on fox10phoenix.com/poll, but also on our YouTube page. Efren Starks in Tonopah says, people, please read the amendments to the Constitution and recent rulings. If you warn a criminal of impending arrest, you are not protected by the First Amendment. Why would anyone think that they are? Would you warn a drug dealer or a murderer? And then Sam51 on YouTube says, it is illegal to help a fugitive avoid arrest in Arizona as it constitutes harboring a fugitive, which is a crime under both state and federal law. Individuals who assist a fugitive can face serious legal consequences, including fines and imprisonment. Really thoughtful comments. Keep them up, everybody.
Okay, that's really cool. So
Pretty
thank
amazing.
you, Dave. Hey, Celeste, so do you know that today is the anniversary of Pluto? Thank you, NASA, for providing us. And by the way, there's the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff where it was discovered.
Poor Pluto, though. Didn't it get downgraded?
It got downgraded, and I'm going to tell you why. There's Clyde Tombaugh, self-trained astronomer who, let's see, about
Way to go,
100
Clyde.
years ago. Way to go, Clyde. We're on your side. He said, basically, look, there's one more planet, and it was classified as a planet until 2006 when some organization, some smarty
It's called
pants.
the International Astronomical Union.
Those guys
It's
again.
a union, Ron. Come on. So apparently, because they say it failed to meet 3 criteria for a full-size planet.
It has to orbit the sun, which it does. It has. By the way, you know how we have 1 year, which is 365 days, and then we've orbited and we're back in the same position.
Yes.
1 year up there at Pluto is about 248 years.
Do we age
on Earth.
faster?
Well, slower. Because 248 years up there in our body clock is
yes.
1 year.
It's 1 year here.
So, you get 248 years for the price of one.
So you really could live to be a billion.
Yeah, exactly.
How old are you? I'm 1 billion years old.
Yeah,
Where
right?
did you get that many candles for your cake?
Oh, and by the way, they do say that it has an atmosphere such that if you ever were to land there, which would be impossible, it would take forever, the signals
Yes.
would. Anyway, that kind of creates during what would be daytime hours crystal clear blue skies, which is kind of cool.
So
anyway,
nice.
have to orbit the sun. It's got to be round. It's got both of those, and it has to basically kind of, as they call it in the biz, clear the neighborhood around its orbit, and that is where it gets into trouble because if you're a planet, you can't be tinier than the stuff that's rotating around you from gravity.
Oh, I got
So obviously, Earth, we outweigh all the debris that is in our orbit.
Mm-hmm.
We got a moon, right? But it's a lot smaller. And so Jupiter, same kind of a thing, but not for Pluto. It has objects, icy objects, that are similar to size of Pluto or actually larger than Pluto, and therefore it can't technically be called a planet.
So Jennifer in the chat says, that's not cool. Pluto is a planet.
I know.
Buddha Sheep says, Pluto is a star in my book. Burger Boy says, it will always be a planet. And here's the thing. Angela Langford, 5790. She said, Ron, good morning to my favorite newscast.
Oh, Angela, thank you.
And so we appreciate her. And then she tried, Ron, many people have tried this, and we're right there with you, Angela. We have failed miserably in typing my name out because it constantly says Sylvester.
Oh, Sylvester. So wouldn't it be smarter of us to I think it would be easier, considering the AI world that we live in.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
that if everybody's typing in Celeste and it goes to Sylvester, wouldn't it be cheaper for us to just have our announcer at the beginning of the news say, with Syleste Rodriguez? That would be simpler.
That would be simpler.
Okay.
It would be weird because it's not my name.
All right, I thought maybe I could talk you into it.
But I have been called worse.
Yeah, worse than Sylvester? Okay, so would you look at some of the pictures coming in? Man, we get some good images here. I think this is up in the Great Lakes, and good luck trying to even get down to the shore. That might be Twin Harbors, Minnesota. I'm going to check with
so
Dean.
Beautiful.
I have an idea. It just might be.
And Angela and everyone else, thank you so much for joining us for the first hour of FTT. We are so grateful for all of you. Remember to give us a ring. Ask us a question on our viewer voicemail. Have a great day, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Welcome on in, you guys. I go too fast
No,
with my
I like
fingers.
that shot. Do it.
Where
the
is
other
everybody?
One. That one.
Oh,
yeah, that one.
There we go.
We'll just, yeah.
Keep
Welcome
things
in,
rolling.
everyone.
Now at 11 o'clock.
We're going to continue with the very latest on Nancy Guthrie.
We do have a special guest joining us here this morning, Dan Donovan. He is the founder and managing partner of Stratoscopes Holding. Mr. Donovan, good morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. I want to give you the opportunity real quick just to kind of tell us what is Stratoscope Holdings.
So we have 5 different companies in our family. Our consulting division manages event security for some of the biggest events in the country. And then we have our Ingressotech division, which provides weapons detection systems, so to screen guests when they're going to events. We have a canine division for explosive and weapons detection canine, and we recently announced Stratos EP as our executive protection division.
Wow.
So that's our sum of companies.
Sure. So you're basically kind of in like the security industry. So, I mean, this has kind of been a head scratcher for a lot of folks. I mean, going on what is say day 18 or 19?
We're on day 19. I think a lot of people were wondering, number one, going back, the surveillance video, also security systems, and how were people able to get into the house? How were they undetected? Talk a little bit about that aspect.
Well, my understanding is that there was a Nest camera that is the only actual technology that was part of the home. And it wasn't set up to have real-time, playback or storage of the video that it's capturing. So it took until the FBI got involved to be able to get together with Nest and their parent company, Google, to access the video that was in the Google servers, and that's a relationship that federal agencies have that local law enforcement is typically not going to have. So that's the only real technology they had in place.
So with the lack of technology, then you've been following the case, I imagine, like everyone else in the nation has been. Talk a little bit about what you're seeing as far as the progression of the search, the investigation, the gathering of information, possible evidence.
Well, look, this is a very complicated case because it's a very abnormal kidnapping, right? The people that have taken Mrs. Guthrie are not acting in any normal manner, right? You do this with an objective, and that objective is to get money or something else out of the family or the individuals, and they haven't done that. They haven't disclosed proof of life. They haven't done anything that's normal. So they're acting in a way that's very unstable and hard then to track from our law enforcement partners, whether it's the sheriff's office or even the FBI. And that's what's made this such a tremendously long journey.
Yeah. And I think at the beginning, when we were talking about TMZ getting those ransom notes, and so did some of the TV stations in the Tucson area, so we automatically thought this was some sort of, abduction, and they were trying to get money out of this. But now as the weeks go on, we haven't really heard much about that. So I think it kind of changes again, like what exactly was the motive of this potential abductor?
Yeah, and of these ransom notes, what's been credible, right?
Yeah.
Because TMZ getting this is these requests. I mean, this is like 1980s stuff where they typed out and glued different letters together to send a ransom. This case is just it's really hard to track because there's been so much misdirection by possibly fraudulent ransom demands. I know we had one for sure. And I don't know that the FBI has been able to track down this person that keeps, emailing TMZ. So, without a demand, it's very difficult for, whether it's a private entity or law enforcement to act to find Mrs. Guthrie.
Yeah.
I'm reading your bio, and it said your work focuses on threat assessment, perimeter design, weapons screening. Threat assessment is interesting. I think that I read something this morning that possibly there was a Google search into Savannah Guthrie and into how much she makes and what she does, obviously Nancy Guthrie's mom, prior to the obviously none of this has been confirmed, but I mean, you know, when you're looking at threat assessment, what aspects are you looking at?
When you have high net wealth or famous individuals, you know, Savannah Guthrie's on the news on Today, and she's a very well-known person. That type of person needs a particular, you know, threat and risk modeling to ensure that whatever's going on in her life is not creating opportunity for somebody with nefarious actions. Now you go to the mother and you say, that's an arm's length away, and she probably is not at risk. Mm-hmm. It turns out she is, right? And it turns out, you know, that there's been a connection here. You know, I think Savannah Guthrie's, you know, wealth was disclosed. At least her salary was disclosed to the media. Mm-hmm. I'm sure a number of people went to look to see what she makes. Why would somebody take her mother, and what would the demand be? And does she have the means to do this, or to meet a ransom demand? So, you know, I'm not surprised by it. But look, all of us have to be looking at our digital footprints and what a nefarious person might be able to find out about you and your family at any given time.
Yeah.
Scary situation. Thank you so much for your expertise. We really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Thank you,
Mr. Donovan.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to bring in our next guest here because I thought this was a pretty interesting.
Right. Thanks, Dave.
We're
Statistic.
talking about
Loneliness.
correct. The top 5 loneliest states in the United States. Surprisingly, Arizona is among them.
Yeah, we were in the top 5 of loneliest states with 65 plus individuals. So we wanted to talk to Dr. Vestal, Tyler Vestal, with Banner Health, to talk about what does loneliness do to a person, especially those 65 plus who are part of this survey?
Yes. First, thank you for having me back.
Anytime.
I always appreciate coming here. And I also want to express that from the bottom of my heart that we're praying for the Guthrie family and the success and the safety of the law enforcement team as they conduct their investigation. Moving on to talk about loneliness, the next thing we want to do is we want to separate being alone from loneliness.
Okay.
You know, being alone can actually be kind of nice sometimes. I know when I have the house to myself, it can be very, very relaxing.
Kind of recharge the battery, so to speak,
Exactly.
Especially if you do live in a busy household, or, you know, like your spouse works out of the house, or the kids are always there. Sometimes it's nice to just stand in your kitchen for 10 minutes.
Be sure to always have some time for yourself. That's important, as much as is possible. This is different from the experience of being lonely, right? When we're not feeling socially connected to other people and the psychological and emotional distress that follows. We are social creatures. We laugh, we play, we argue, we reconcile together. We do these things together. The lone wolf is the exception to the pack. You asked about Arizona in particular. So Arizona has, for a few reasons, Arizona probably ranks high as far as states for loneliness. And there's a large retiree population.
Sure.
Older adults are moving often from places where they have an established social connection. And another reason is that many are also facing the loss of their spouse, which particularly can impact married men.
Sure.
Because their wives are often the foundation of their social network. In addition, we're a rapidly growing state as well. People who are moving here for jobs or for lifestyle also leaving their social networks behind, and it can sometimes take a while to actually find friends. It doesn't always happen so easily.
Can I ask you about social media? And my parents are in their 70s, and they're both on. My mom is always on Facebook. She's always looking for recipes or looking at pictures. Can that lead to or create a sense of loneliness?
One thing, there's promise of social media was that we could be social.
Be connected.
Be
Yes,
connected,
to
be social.
Connected to.
But
Yes.
well, I was going to say, but I feel like it disconnects you from people, though.
Yes. What I call passive social media use, right? When we are comparing ourselves to others, sometimes when we're seeing those pictures of other people on their fun events or with others, the exclusion, that feeling of being excluded. And that's where that social disconnect, that feeling of social disconnection comes from. And that's actually a really important piece of how to combat loneliness, is to make more time for active social media use, right? Call people, video chat, set up real meetings and encounters, look for those events that are with other people.
Sure.
That's going to bring back that active social part of using social media.
Can loneliness lead to some other, I guess, bigger psychological issues like depression or things like that?
Anxiety.
Of course. A lot of times when I'm thinking about depression, it is that feeling of being
Isolation?
stuck,
Okay.
or disconnected, of losing that connection to our activities, to our interests, to the people that we're close to in our lives, or lacking that. And when we're not having that, that's where that anxious distress comes from. That fear, that worry of what the future may hold. And when we start feeling depressed, it's that loss of the future, that loss of future pleasure.
What if you get anxious with crowds or strangers, but you do crave and need that, I guess, communication, and you don't want to be lonely?
Kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it is. I mean, because you do have a lot of that. And, 65 and plus, you're still young at 65, but let's say you lose your spouse and you want to get back out there and just start meeting people to go to coffee with. But you do have a little bit of social anxiety because you haven't done it for so long.
Yes. Being alone is different from experiencing loneliness. If we are not connected to the crowd, we're not going to be having that social connection. So a couple things here. The first is be looking for those events in the community. If you have family members, call them. And if we have older family members, if we have our grandparents, get our grandparents talking to the younger kids and not just checking in, hey, how are you doing? Be looking for that wisdom that they have. Hey, I'm facing a problem right now in my life. I'm trying to decide on the next step in my career. I'm trying to evaluate if this is the right person for me, my long-term partner. Ask your grandparents. Yeah. They've been through it.
Good idea.
Dr. Vestal, we got to go, but real quick, give us where people can find you.
Yes, I practice at New River Trails Banner Health Center Plus, and you can find me online or contact our office.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
Hi, welcome in. If you guys know us, you know we love to travel. I love airports.
I do too. People watching in the airport is the best, you know?
I love it. Yes, I get a little stressed out, but I love it. I love people watching. I love seeing
where all the planes are going.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an airplane nerd, so that's like, I'm right at home at an airport.
I know.
But we have some kind of exciting news for our airport to the north of us, the Flagstaff Airport. Some big news this morning. So we have Brian Gall with the Flagstaff Airport joining us this morning. Good morning, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, Anita.
Hey, make that big announcement. What's going on up there?
Yeah, we're very excited to announce that our daily flights between Flagstaff and Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport are going to be upgraded from the current regional jets we have to an Airbus A319.
Wow.
Starting this May. So that's about a doubling of the seat capacity of the current flights we have between Flagstaff and Dallas.
Brian, when you kind of make an announcement like that where you're doubling the capacity for one of these planes, what does that say about not only Flagstaff, but you guys as an airport to be able to, I guess that just means the demand is higher, right?
It does. Yeah, I think it says a lot about the region. Flagstaff is the biggest commercial service airport in northern Arizona, so we get a lot of traffic for visitors to Flagstaff itself, to the Grand Canyon, to destinations like Sedona. So I think we are seeing that increasing demand. In fact, our numbers were up about 5% in 2025 over 2024. And this past January, we were up about 12% over 2025's numbers. So things are looking very strong here from a travel demand. I think a lot of that's driven by visitation, but also by the local community here that has places to go and wants to connect there through big airports like Dallas.
Sure.
So obviously you have to show and prove the numbers, prove this demand. What else does it take, though, to get more flights, more routes, bigger planes?
Yeah, honestly, it's mostly the demand that you mentioned, and we prove that by filling the seats of the aircraft that we have available. So when American Airlines is planning their network, it's a very large nationwide and international airline network. They're really looking to put those aircraft as movable assets where they're going to be full the most often. And I think that says a lot to show that here at Flagstaff, we've had enough demand to fill the seats of those aircraft, and that we have the need for that additional capacity.
Yeah, that is exciting.
One other challenge we've had in Flagstaff is that because of our elevation, our runway is over 7,000 feet at the service level. In the summertime, when the weather gets hot, that increases what they call the density altitude. And that makes it so aircraft engines and wings aren't quite as efficient. So we've been restricted on our current aircraft to have our Dallas flights in the morning. The nice thing about this larger, more powerful aircraft is it'll allow us to have those flights in the middle of the day, which is when we see the most travel demand. So in addition to doubling the capacity, I think we're going to see additional demand just because of the timing of those flights.
Wow.
Now, Brian, have you guys ever had an airplane of that size, service the Flagstaff area before?
Not as a scheduled commercial flight. We do see aircraft that size and even larger for more infrequent events. We see them for charters. We see them for military flights and things like that. So we can accommodate from an aircraft standpoint, we've been accommodating those for a long time. But as a daily scheduled commercial service, this will be the first time on what we call mainline service. So an aircraft actually operated by American Airlines rather than one of their regional subsidiaries.
That is so exciting.
It is, isn't it, though? I need to find out one more time what type of airplane this is so I can Google it.
Airbus A319, right, Brian?
Airbus A what?
Correct, yeah.
A319.
And they see about 128 passengers, and that's compared to 65 passengers we have on our usual regional jets.
Yeah, that is a cool deal.
So what could potentially be next then as far as growth? Are you able to expand runways, add more flights? Obviously, this is
another airline?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Certainly. We're always looking for new destinations and new carriers and additional service on our incumbent carrier, American Airlines. Right now, we have direct daily flights on American Airlines to both Phoenix and Dallas-Fort Worth. We've had some seasonal services to other cities in the past. I think that being able to accommodate this aircraft shows that our terminal is well set up for it, our runways and taxiways are well set up for it, and our community has a demand. We're always in conversations with our airline partners about looking for new places to go. So can't say anything officially, but just know that we're always working in the background on some additional service.
That sounds like a hint.
More flight frequency or even new destinations. So it's definitely something we're going to be working on.
You know that once one airline sees that another is like doing well with a certain route, then they try and jump on as well. So that's pretty exciting, Brian.
It's like kids with candy.
We all
It
want
is. We're very excited. American Airlines has been a great partner for us. In fact, we refer to this as upgauging. So that's when they add a larger aircraft to a route that they have that's existing. This actual aircraft was brought to us by American Airlines. We've been in conversations with them about some potential fleet mix changes, but this one actually went a little bit over and above even what we had originally talked to them about. So we were very excited that they brought that to us, which I think also reinforces that the community and the visitors that are coming to the Northern Arizona region and Flagstaff in particular are showing demand for that flight to Dallas, especially.
I have an idea. You heard Ty say he's an aviation geek. He's also a pilot.
Private pilot.
Private pilot. But I think what we should do is see if we can get him flown in from Phoenix to Flagstaff,
and then take the flight out to Dallas.
I like the sound of that. You know, just to check it out, we can do some live reports, some behind the scenes.
I think that sounds like a great idea. Anytime you guys want to come up here, please let us know. We'd love to host you.
Brian, real quick, I know that with the smaller regional jets, they don't really need like a gate to come up to the side of them. Do you guys? Is this going to be? Will they board from a staircase, or do you have gates there at Flagstaff? Excuse my ignorance.
Yeah, we better get you over there.
Yeah, you're correct. Currently, our regional aircraft are boarded via boarding ramp, so it's a movable ramp that allows passengers to board. It's still going to be a movable boarding ramp for the Airbus A319. It'll just be a larger one with a little bit of a switchback in the middle of it.
Okay.
So there is going to be some new equipment that will be brought on site for that American is handling, some ground support equipment. We're going to be making some changes to the markings, so the envelope that the aircraft parks in when it's in the boarding area. We're also going to be reconfiguring some seating in the terminal to make sure it's more comfortable for passengers with a larger volume of passengers at any given time. But for the most part, the building is set as it is, and I think we're pretty close to having the resources we need to accommodate those. Again, we have a few months before those flights start, May 21st, and it is going to be seasonal. It runs May 21st through the end of October, and we're hoping that our community does a great job. We're going to be doing what we can to help market and support that route so that we can bring that flight back again next year.
Okay, we're going to try to get a crew up there for May 21st.
May 21st.
Do a live
I'm going to
shot.
put it on my calendar right now, Brian. That's exciting.
Appreciate it. Congratulations.
Sounds great. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
right,
thank
have
you.
Have a good one.
We're going to stay with an aviation theme.
We are.
We like a theme here in Fox 10 Talks with Ty and Anita. We are going to hop right on over to Phoenix Sky Harbor.
We have Monica here
Hi.
with the airport, and this press release came out, and I was like, this is genius. You guys are really streamlining the whole process for when folks are checking bags. So walk us through what this means, Monica.
Indeed, and that's the absolute goal, to make travel easy at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. We are America's friendliest airport, and this service allows for people to be able to travel with convenience and be able to travel in a much quicker, expedited manner.
Yeah. So it's called the early bag check. So what exactly does that mean? And where will these locations now be at? Because I think people are kind of used to maybe the curbside where they can drop it there, but you guys are making it even easier.
Indeed, right. It's called early bag check, and it's an option for people that are planning to check in their bags instead of making your way into the terminal with both hands.
Two big suitcases.
Trying to make your way through the escalator and so on. You have two options to do early bag check. One of them is over at East Economy Parking, and the other is at the Rental Car Center. Once you arrive at those locations, check in your bags and make your way over to the terminal. No need to wait in line over at the airline ticket counters to check in bags. It's a quick, simple process. You're permitted to check in 2 bags. This is only available
per person.
Correct.
Okay.
Only available for domestic travel. And both counters are open every day, 5 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Is that what we're looking at right now? Video of, so they're already up and running.
They're up and running.
Someone mans them, so it's not like you're just dropping your luggage off willy-nilly.
There's an employee there.
I would be, you heard me say, I'm not a nervous traveler, but I want to make sure that everything goes smoothly and correctly. I carry on. If I can't carry on, I'm not taking it. That's my rule. But if I were checking a bag, I would want to know that I have confirmation that everything's
indeed,
and we get that.
And that's how the program works, Anita. Once you arrive at a counter, you will interface with a human. A human will take a look at your luggage, weigh it, check it in, you'll receive a confirmation, and you can make your way over to the terminal.
So easy.
Now, Monica, I know that you just started this, but have you started to see lines kind of diminished for other areas of the airport, like the actual baggage drop-off within the terminal? Because I can imagine a lot of people would take advantage of this.
A lot of people are taking advantage of it, Ty. And to answer your question, I specifically haven't looked at those lines that you're referring to, but I can tell you that people are using early bag check. We're getting into what we call a very super busy season here. Spring is here, right?
Yep.
Or it's almost
Spring
here.
training starts Friday.
This is the
I
place
know,
to be,
right?
right? So we are seeing people using it, and that's what it's for, to make your travel easier. It's free. Airline baggage fees still apply. It's available. It's open. Check in your bags. Make life easy.
Yeah.
It seems like a no-brainer. How did you guys come up with this? Do other airlines do this, or
other airlines are doing it? Other airports?
Airports, excuse
are
me.
doing
Thank
it.
you.
These are best practices. We're always looking at different services, different amenities to improve the overall experience for our travelers at Phoenix Sky Harbor. This is one service that does that. So we're on that quest to continue to make the airport better, and this aligns with that.
So much has changed in the airport the past few years. Just the terminals and the growth, and that SkyTrain is so fantastic and so easy. It's really nice when you're traveling, especially when you have a group, knowing it's going to be just flawless. Sorry.
Yes, and Anita, this service is perfect for a group. Imagine a family with all of the extra
and the strollers and the kids.
Yep. And that reminds me, as far as the items that you can check in with this program, early bag check is for luggage. Any other items, strollers, golf clubs, and so on, those you would do what you normally do with them, which is take them over to the.
We're going to keep it simple to start. See how things go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Monica, I have a dumb question.
There are no dumb questions
so
on
once
Fox
it's
10
over
Talks.
over at like the rental car center, or the you mentioned the parking garage, do they get loaded on a SkyTrain, or how do they get? How do the bags get from?
You're asking about behind the scenes.
I love the behind the scenes,
Where's
Monica.
my luggage going, right? So from an operations standpoint, I can tell you that there is a very frequent operation that's taking place as we are collecting those bags. Those bags are being taken over via shuttle to.
Is there more of a time frame? Like you have to make sure you're earlier, or is there a cutoff?
So you can't do it 5 minutes before your flight.
I was going to say, because they have to make a little jog to get to the airport.
So 90 minutes before your flight, and the earliest that you can check your bag in is 4 hours before your flight.
Well, we're like a 2 hour for when we fly domestic, so we would be good. Okay, so it's 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can enter off the rental car center, which is level 2, or the East Economy parking, super easy, near the Phoenix SkyTrain station. It is 100% free.
Absolutely.
Wow.
We love this.
Yeah.
We love innovation at our airport.
Do you think eventually it'll go to international? I know that's tough because we have a little bit more control that we have to do with that?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. There are so many different things that we look at, right?
Sure.
So again, the idea is to always continue to look at opportunities to improve the overall experience for travelers. So we'll definitely
you guys are looking the right way, that's for sure.
Well, Monica,
Thank you.
now that we got you in the hot seat, we have 30 seconds left.
Okay.
Can you give us any indication? Any new routes? Any new airlines coming?
Oh my goodness.
Can you give us some breaking news?
More
Monica?
direct to
I don't
Europe?
have anything to share, but
Okay.
I can tell you, again, back to how I started this conversation, we are always looking to make the traveler experience better. So
I love it.
Keep an eye out.
Thank
Monica,
you.
so great to see you. Thanks for your time this morning. That was
you.
fun.
Bye, guys. Ron and Des are coming up next.
See you tomorrow.
Good morning, you guys. Welcome in. We are so glad you're staying with us here on Fox 10 Talks through 11:30. You're seeing a nice, beautiful shot of downtown Phoenix right now. And whew, let me tell you, dare I say, it's actually a little chilly out there today. No complaints, though, right? Because we are going to turn a sharp corner as we head into the weekend and early next week. It is going to get a lot warmer here in the valley yet again. We're looking at 80 degrees after we move through this upcoming weekend. So, good morning, you guys. I am just taking a look at the chat and seeing who we got in here this morning with us. We've got Linda hanging around, wishing Ty and Anita a blessed day. And love that. Jenna Purr joining us as well. Says, hello, Des and Ron. What did she say? Oh, what was that? That margarita glass popped up when you typed Ron? That's interesting. Good morning, Linda. All right, glad you're with us. So we're going to take a look at a much different image here this morning. It is what things look like right now in northern Arizona. So much different than what we're seeing here in the valley, that's for sure. So if you're headed up north, you're certainly going to need your winter gear, the coat, the hat, the gloves, all of that. So right now in northern Arizona, we are just seeing this winter wonderland, picturesque video and images. And then we've got that, we've got Dad and that little boy right there trying to trudge their way through the snow. We are also going to check in with the Sunrise Ski Resort as well. I think we have that live cam. Let me see. Do we want to go?
28. Oh, yeah, ENG 24.
Okay. ENG 24. Is that on page 2? Oh, right here. There we go. Oh, okay. I found I had to shuffle through the pages here on the buttons here on the board. And look at Sunrise looks to be pretty busy today. You've got folks enjoying the slopes, and you might as well, because let's admit, we just haven't had that much snow this winter season. We've been waiting for this snowfall for quite a while. Things have been a little dry, so we definitely love seeing the activity in the high country. And look at this. Look at the bottom right-hand part of the screen here. Ooh. Look at that. It's he or she getting them skis on and getting ready to head to one of the slopes to have some fun there.
You know what's cool about it, Des, is I see that guy kind of working on getting his skis on right there in the front part of the camera.
Yeah.
That looks just like me. I'm like, now where does my boot go in? I have skied Sunrise, I bet you 20, 25 times.
Oh, really?
Over the years.
Oh, you're like a pro then.
Because look at the lines. There are none. Even on a day like this with incredible snowfall. I mean, there's just so much mountain to ski up there.
But what a wild thing, too, to see all of the snow that we did get, which is what we want to see. And then we had such strong winds that some ski resorts, Snow Bowl, had to turn people away because of the wind. It's like, what? We were waiting for all of this snow.
Oh, my gosh,
But yeah, they did come out and say if that had ruined anybody's plans, I don't know if that's anyone in our chat, you guys, if you had plans to go up there, but they were offering, obviously, refunds and, working with folks to make those adjustments if it impacted plans.
By the way, I like Patricia Morgan, who's saying, hey, Des, I'm originally from Western New York.
Wait, where's that? I missed that one.
That's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, I see.
Comments up there.
Oh, okay. Well, look, I was stuck on the, we'll look up even further. See Jenna.
Yeah.
She said, hey, Des and Ron, and then the margarita glass. Okay. She said that popped up when I typed Ron for some reason.
Are you kidding me?
At that. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But now I see it. Patricia Morgan. Good morning. Originally from Western New York. I love that. Where in particular are you from, Patricia?
Yeah.
I would love to know.
Wouldn't that be amazing
if
you guys
neighbors and never knew it?
Grew up like 10 miles apart from each other?
That would be wild.
What is the actual town you're from?
So right. I say I'm from Buffalo. I'm from Lockport, New York. So it's a suburb 30 minutes north of downtown Buffalo.
Is it more on the canal?
It's on the
famous
canal.
Erie
Yes,
Canal. That's
it's
what
the
it's called,
famous Erie
Lockport?
Canal,
Yeah.
and yes, that's where we have some of the original locks, part of the canal system. So that's why we're called Lockport. And obviously, back in the times of when they were using the canal as shipping channels and as a primary mode of transportation, Lockport was a big stop on the map for folks. So just a small little town. Main Street was our little Main Street is the downtown part of Lockport. And so
a buddy of mine who, let's see, in his 60s, he and his sisters, they took a whole week and bicycled the entire Erie Canal.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. We've had people surf it.
Yeah. Well, he said it was like one of his favorite vacays ever.
Oh, that's good.
Anyway, we've arranged these pictures, Des, to start this half hour to help you feel right at home with snowy Buffalo, New York.
I love it. I am actually going home with all of the kids.
Oh, yeah?
In early March. And yeah, I can't wait. I actually hope I'm not going to run into too much of this because I just want to get there, get in and get out and not be stuck there.
Yeah,
Patricia's from Niagara Falls.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
I love
Such
it. Oh,
a
my
small
gosh.
world.
Talk about a sight to see.
Yeah.
Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, by the way, so we did have Matt Finn on a little bit earlier, and I thought it would be good for people who missed that part of the show.
Yeah.
His reporting for Fox News Channel, it has now become a regular part of my day. Because when they start at whatever it is, 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. our time, it seems like they always go to Matt, and you always get the breaking developments.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's on top of it.
Yeah. So here's a little what he had to say just earlier.
The sheriff says that there was DNA recovered from inside Nancy Guthrie's house behind me that does not belong to the family or Nancy's inner circle. And so far, there have been no hits in CODIS, which is the national database. But what's interesting about CODIS is you basically have to be a previous offender or have had DNA entered into that national database. So now the sheriff says that they are pursuing other routes, including these forensic genealogy methods, including perhaps some private companies that people may have previously entered their DNA into. And so we've interviewed a few of these private companies and talked to them, and they actually claim that they can perhaps quickly build a larger DNA profile than law enforcement because they say that they have all these points, these data points that they look for, and they can kind of expand into your family, into your cousins, into all these other databases where really law enforcement is primarily checking the databases of previous offenders. So there is hope here that DNA that has been recovered from inside the house behind me could ultimately be identified by by the private sector, and the private sector kind of claims they may have some better technology than law enforcement.
Yeah, and the other question that we asked him was, what about a vehicle? And so everybody wants, that could be another key piece. Look, a bummer this week. Maybe we took a step back. There was no hit from the DNA in the CODIS file of 19 million. But the familial DNA is widely accepted, and it could take a longer amount of time, but I think people should feel pretty optimistic about the odds there. And whenever they get that, my understanding is they're working with the Google Nest people it was one thing to have software say, oh, there's somebody right in front of my, right in front of my camera, which is how we got that.
Right.
Even though the camera had been basically, unsubscribed to. But when we can finally see the vehicle that was passing out front, supposedly it's in the works. Who knows how long it'll take?
I'm sure. I mean, the technological advances that we've made in every tool that we have access to these days, it's just a matter of time, hopefully. But any piece of evidence is good, right? The more pieces of the puzzle you have, the better. It does feel like it's kind of a letdown that it didn't hit in the CODIS system, but it's better to have it than to not.
Yeah. And I get it that they have, 13... Didn't they have 13,000 leads, and then they released the video and they got another 4,000? I think those numbers are roughly correct.
Yeah, it was something like that.
And who knows how long that's going to take to go through 17,000 leads.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have bucket 1, bucket 2, bucket 3 kind of a thing. But there have been some reports, we can't get confirmation, but some reports, and I wouldn't expect law enforcement to confirm this kind of thing, that they have a list of names and faces, that they have been going around to local gun stores because that the gun and its weird, it's kind of oddly shaped holster that the guy had
holster for that
right over his midsection. That might be the clue that cracks it as too. So I know they're working on it.
Yeah.
So when the news came down this morning, the man formerly known as Prince Andrew, got arrested. I guess it was somewhat shocking to us over here, but I think there'd been some speculation of the British press that it might be on the verge of happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, this is unprecedented, right?
Yeah.
We haven't seen someone from the royal family stripped of their title, let alone now being arrested in connection to some disturbing things that have come out in the Epstein files.
And right up until her death, Queen Elizabeth was really, the poll showed, so beloved. And yet I think she kind of believed whatever Andrew was telling her he did or didn't do. And reportedly, she was the one behind the payment to Virginia Guthrie, that came from the UK. So there have just been a lot of developments, and we were chatting with TMZ a little earlier.
He is being charged with the suspicion of misconduct while in public office, and this is in relation to documents that he potentially had shared with Jeffrey Epstein. As we had reported extensively, he was inside of those recently released Epstein documents, and just 2 weeks ago, authorities were then contacted to investigate this matter. This was apparently over treaties, trade information between America and the UK that he had shared allegedly with Jeffrey Epstein. Unclear exactly why. That's why it's being investigated right now. But I'm sure more facts will come in the next 24 hours.
All these emails that are out now, and they're looking into it. So it's something that I read this morning, Branson, that carries a maximum sentence of life in prison.
Yeah, let me tell you this. America, UK, Europe, very, very different in their sentencing here, because especially with something like this, with high confidential information, they take this very, very seriously. And I will say, too, King Charles did speak out and said that he will be working with authorities and said that they will do everything they can to get to the bottom of this.
Okay, so there you go with the developments. And the penalty, if you were to be found guilty, a max would be life in prison. So shocking enough to see a member of the British family is high profile, 8th in line to the throne, by the way.
Yeah, and
arrest.
it's got to be conflicting for King Charles. Yes, it is your brother, but wrong is wrong, and he kind of said that. He said, we're just going to let the law play out here.
Yep. Okay, so we have a mystery cam for you. We're back in 2 minutes with more conversation with you. right, everybody, welcome back. Ron and Des, and when you're driving down the freeway right there, and these grassy areas, and it's super windy, it kind of reminds me of driving across like Oklahoma and Arkansas. It's like they have grassy freeways everywhere. So, I don't know, Des, we're looking. Oh, look, there's Brandon saying Oklahoma. If you guys want to give us your guesses, we would love to chat.
I loved the convo in the chat from Patricia. So, I love that you just to discover that she lived in Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
She's got family still there. She used to bike along the river, she says, from the Tondawandas to South Buffalo. That's a pretty long bike ride.
So
and then some other folks in the chat, they've been to Niagara Falls. So, glad you've gotten to see parts of Western New York, you guys.
I have to say that, and this was when our kids were young, so I bet it was 25 years ago. We did the Maid of the Mist. I'm sure you've done it a few times.
Yeah, it was my fifth grade field trip.
No.
And my dad got to go with me, and we were in those little plastic ponchos.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Okay. Hey, we're also getting some Texas guesses, including a couple of our favorites, Louie and Linda. And Patricia's even saying, hey, I work with a lot of Texans. So I'm going Oklahoma. Des, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I'm going to go Texas with Linda.
All right. Here we go.
All right. Here's the answer. It is... Owasso, Oklahoma.
It is Oklahoma. Yeah.
Have you been there?
Owasso?
Yeah. I like the name.
How are they spelling it?
I've never heard of Owasso.
O-S-W. Okay, I'm going to go look it up. Here it is. One more
look. Am I saying that right, you guys?
Yeah.
Owasso.
Okay, so...
I kind of like that.
Do we have any Oklahomans watching today? Okay, so...
It's spelled kind of in a fun way.
Yeah, it is. Okay, let's find out. I did, right after my daughter graduated from high school, from college, she got an internship job in Washington, D.C., and I drove the whole country with her because I knew she would need a car. And so we drove for like 4 straight days across America and drove right through Oklahoma. And I'm looking right now. So there's Oklahoma City. This is a suburb of Tulsa, and we did not make it up there. So that's still on my bucket list. We crossed through Arkansas, Little Rock, and then went to Memphis. Now, there is a town, Des, to spend some time. Have you been to Memphis yet? Home of the blues?
I did not get to Memphis when we were in Tennessee, unfortunately. Yeah.
Walking down Beale Street was just, it's the coolest experience, like that Mark Cohen song, Walking in Memphis. But do I really feel the way I feel?
Yeah.
Got my feet 10 feet off of Beale. When you walk down Beale Street, it's like this jazz joint, that blues joint, this, whatever, rock joint.
Like just take your pick.
Every music coming at you from all directions.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. It's super cool.
That's amazing. Yeah. Did you play the song while you were walking down the street?
I'm sure I did.
Okay,
I
was going to say,
sure I did.
Have to.
It's weird. I make a new playlist every month because I used to be a DJ, and that song shows up on about 3 or 4 playlists every year.
Every year.
I love that
keep in the
song.
rotation.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, we got our mystery cam knocked out. It was really fascinating. This whole idea just sprung up in the last few months, the Board of Peace. And so there were so many countries that were being represented from Azerbaijan to Indonesia that were showing up. And it was really interesting kind of how it all played out. So here's just a little bit more of what the president was saying as he welcomed the world to Washington with hopes of maybe working out a peace deal in the Middle East.
Have a man at the end right there that's smiling because you learned that after 30 years of fighting, right? 30 years of fighting, we got it done. And I want to thank you very much. That was the great thing you did, you and your new friend. They came to my office and they said, I've been fighting for 22 years. Now you're there for 23 years, right? But I've been fighting for 22 years. That's all I've done is fight this gentleman. And his counterpart was there for 7 years. He said, I've been there for 7 years. All I've done is fight this gentleman. And we had it worked out in about 24 hours, right? And it's been a good peace. And I think they've become friends. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say that, but I think so. I think they've become friends, right? Right. Great. Stand up. Stand up. These are two tough cookies, too. You think that was easy? It wasn't easy. These are two tough people, good people, but tough people. But, we're in the Oval Office, and we were getting near. But the one was at one side of the room. I have two chairs right in front of the desk, the beautiful, resolute desk. One's over here. One's on the other side of the room. I said, fellas, could you get a little closer? Well, I don't know. They felt very uncomfortable. They've been killing each other for 32 years. So I say, can you get a little closer? After 1 hour, they were right next to each other. We made a deal. They hugged. They signed. And we had peace with two very important countries, and I'll never forget it. So they started off a little weak, and they ended up really strong, and you can be very proud of yourselves. It was a beautiful thing to see. Thank you.
Yeah, well, there you go. Some accolades from some of the previous deals, but boy, now they're up against the hard ones, which is Iran and Gaza, and we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can make any headway on the plans.
Hey, let's go to our poll question this morning. A lot of people talk. Oh, hold on. I can pull up the poll question. Yeah. Here we go. Des, look at this now. We're over 1,400 votes, and it's all about that SB 1635 that would make it illegal if you were going to warn somebody that the police were on the verge of coming to their house and arresting them.
40% here is saying they support it.
Yeah.
55% are opposed, and 5% support what ICE is doing, but not this bill necessarily. There's too many questions.
Okay, so there's your YouTube voting. And remember, this is the whole universe of people that are out there on YouTube. And by the way, we have over 500,000 people now who have subscribed to our YouTube channel. So thank you very much. And then we always put the QR code up. And this is more directly people that watch the show and grab the QR code. 76% are saying, I support it. Let ICE do its job. 22% though are saying, I'm opposed to this. The First Amendment applies, even if somebody is about to be arrested. Should we go to Dave, Big D? We haven't seen him in a while.
Let's see what comments folks are sending in.
Well,
hey, Dave.
hello, friends. Yes, you can vote on fox10phoenix.com/poll and comment there as well as on YouTube. David Brown in Wickenburg says, interesting that the bill does not mention ICE, so telling someone that they are about to be arrested by any law enforcement agency would be a crime. I am not sure that is constitutional. And Becky Homler says, 1/3 of ICE agents are former military, most of whom served their time in Iraq, a war that was based on a lie about weapons of mass destruction. And now they choose not to protect children running in fear of our government, but to be the ones causing their fear. This is hard to accept. Really interesting, thoughtful comments. We love hearing from you all. Keep it coming.
Des, there are days I'm so jealous of you and the assignments you get. Today, when you were out on food patrol, it looks so good.
Yeah, I'll take that. I was up really late last night, so that was a little win for today. Getting breakfast or lunch or dinner.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to try Soulfire Taco. Just amazing.
Where are they?
They're right on North Hayden in Scottsdale, right down in the same building, down from Sugar Jam. It's Dana's restaurant that she started years ago. It's won a lot of awards. She's known for fusion and combining different cultures and different things that we eat into one dish. And if you like Sugar Jam, you're going to like Soulfire Tacos.
All right, so here it is from a little earlier.
We are still here with Dana, just continuing to talk about this incredible menu. Things that you've never heard of before, like the Soul Roll Changa weekend.
Yes.
And what is that?
So the Soul Roll Changa is like an egg roll, but it's a soul roll that has mac and cheese, collard greens, and candy yams. And we then deep fry it. You can have it on its own, or you can have it as a bowl.
Wow.
And that bowl will be layered with our seasoned rice, our Cuban black beans. It'll have maduros, which are sweet plantains. Like, it is filling. You're gonna walk out of here in a food coma with that one. But it's only available every Saturday and Sunday. And this Saturday for the
opening, yeah.
We literally, I don't even know how many we have to make. We're gonna make them until we sell out.
Well, poor Chef Johnny, he is gonna be on double time. We're watching him on the grill right now. Chef, she said you're the king of birria. So what are you making right now? Kind of walk us through what you're doing on the grill there.
Right now, we're just working some birria tacos. Bananas are a little too modest sometimes, so she makes me feel good about it. So, until I'm able to fully take that title, we'll keep on working, But right now, I'm just working on some of birria tacos.
Oh, that looks so good right there as it's bubbling. And you want those to be nice and crispy, right?
Crispy, yes, ma'am.
Oh, they just look so good. Is that one of your favorite things that you make?
It's one of my favorites because we don't use a cheap cut of meat. That is a short rib. It's braised short rib. And a lot of places don't use short rib. And we are. We up the ante, and this is braised short rib birria tacos.
Oh, those look so good.
Yeah.
And you can get the last one started, Chef, because those come in a plate of three.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's 3. You can even mix them if you wanted one chicken, one of the short rib. You could do shrimp. You can mix how you want your tacos to be. So.
Okay, pretty incredible.
Yeah.
What else do folks need to know ahead of the grand opening on Saturday?
Okay, well, we are open at 11 a.m. That's the time that we're going to be doing the ribbon cutting. We'll be open until 7 o'clock. We are located at 15111 North Hayden Road in Scottsdale, Arizona, Suite 120. We are a small, fast casual restaurant. Everything is made fresh and to order.
And look at the to-go bags, too. So if you don't finish it all, you want to take extra home.
Yeah. We have T-shirts. We have my hats. We have a lot of things for you guys to come out and support Soulfire, my second bigger concept. And we're hoping that this is the flagship and that you'll see more Soulfires from in Arizona and then across the country.
Oh, that would be exciting. And we're seeing the bowl here. That was a new addition that we made. What's in that?
Yeah, so we also service bowls. So this one is a birria bowl. So you have our seasoned rice, the Cuban black beans, some of the short rib birria here. You can choose your protein for your bowls. The same thing if you don't want a bowl and you want a big burro, you can have that in the burro and everything. And this is more of
This was the short rib, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, oh, that looks so good. So it's up by Scottsdale Air Park.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Right down near Sugar Jam. So, and they open a Saturday at 11 a.m.
Hey, what were you doing last night for charity?
Oh, my goodness. So I was up real late last night with Major League Baseball and the Players Trust. So it's an organization created by the players, run for the players to honor the players and all their philanthropic